I tricked the crown prince of Beijing's elite into bed and sucked on him all night. The system screamed, "You idiot! Stop sucking! You were supposed to seduce the male lead. You just slept with his twin brother." My body went stiff, and my mind buzzed. Wait, you're saying Jack isn't the male lead? Later, in the hotel suite, two identical faces, one in front, one behind. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Jack stubbed out his cigarette, his fingers tracing up my thigh. What? You want both of us? Hold up. My body froze again, my brain short-circuited. You're saying Jack isn't the male lead? The system giggled. Correct. The one you're supposed to seduce is Jack's twin brother, Tony. No wonder I could never get Jack's favorability score to register. I exploded. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I'm reporting you for dereliction of duty. You're awake? Jack's voice was husky. His warm hand wrapped around my waist from behind, kneading gently. I shot upright, pulling away. Jack's long, elegant hand froze mid-air. His long lashes fluttered, hiding a brief flicker of darkness. Then he looked up at me, with those damp, beautiful eyes, still a little red. Last night he moaned and whimpered, called himself my loyal dog, cried and panted all night. But who could have guessed that by the end of it, I'd be the one begging for mercy? And Jack acted like he didn't hear a thing. I was so furious I wanted to get him a hearing aid on the spot. No way was I admitting I passed out because of him. Jack withdrew his hand like a poor little pup his owner had scolded. Are you mad? I'm sorry. I'll listen to you next time. The system clicked its tongue, sarcastic. And you wanted to report me? You were clearly enjoying it. Who was it that kept going on about how men's tears are the new black? The more they cry, the more in it is. So embarrassing. But can you blame me? What woman could resist a guy like Jack, cold as ice by day, whimpering in bed by night? Suddenly, I panicked. Jack, elite of the elites, cold and ruthless, hated liars, couldn't stand a single speck of dust in his eye. I'd entered this world planning to take advantage of his amnesia, seduce him, grab the $1 million mission reward, and vanish. Who would have thought there'd be two identical heirs in Beijing's upper crust? Last night I was buried in his chest, sucking away. This morning, I might not even live to tell the tale. Worst of all, I told him to act like a dog. However pliable Jack seemed now, once his memory returned, he'd want me in pieces. I forced myself to stay calm. He'd lost his memory, not his brain. If I acted too weird, he'd definitely catch on. I was scared out of my mind, but still snuggled back into Jack's arms. Gave him another kiss. He smelled so good. The system couldn't take it anymore. Reminder, host, your mission time is running out. The male lead is about to return to the country. Please follow the main mission line and prepare for seduction. Best of luck. Wait, returning? I asked. Where's Tony now? System. England. Me. Get me the fastest ticket to the UK. Jack's amnesia gave me a window. I just needed to keep him in the dark. Seduce Tony, claim my payout, and vanish. Even if Jack got his memory back, even if the Shen family had power, there's nothing they can do to a corpse, right? Damn, I'm a genius. A shining $1 million, Mama's coming. I fluttered my lashes, looped my arms around Jack's neck. Aji, my mum called yesterday. I hid my glee, putting on a sorrowful frown. She's sick. In the UK. I want to go see her. I'm a mission-bound transmigrator. I don't have a mom. The mom story was my double-layered lie. Your mom? Jack paused. All right, I'll come with you. No! I rushed to explain. She's eccentric. I haven't told her about us yet. Plus, you're still recovering from the car accident. Long flights aren't great for your health. Jack looked at me, his gaze unreadable. The vibe was off. Especially now that I knew Jack wasn't the male lead, I was suddenly overwhelmed with guilt. Argy, The sharp ring of the phone cut me off. Jack glanced at me, then slowly turned to answer, his thumb pressing down on the screen. I let out a long breath. The system had just booked the flight. Before anything went wrong, I had to run. I pulled out my suitcase, knelt to pack quickly when a chill crawled up my spine. I whipped around. Jack stood just half a meter away, phone still in hand, towering over me, expression icy. My heart skipped a beat. That phone call, that look. Did Jack remember? The next second, Jack hung up, stepped closer, and said with a hint of clinginess, "Are you really going without me?" My heart dropped back into place. Phew, thank God. I wrapped my arms around his neck. "Good boys, stay home and guard the house. I promise I'll be back real soon, okay?" Jack looked at me but said nothing. Just as I started to pull away, Jack bit down on my shoulder. I yelped, "What the hell?" You know, dogs can be really territorial. His warm breath grazed my ear as his voice dropped low. Their owners are theirs to mark, and only theirs. I was dazed. "What do you mean?" My words drowned between his lips. Jack gripped the back of my head, kissed me dizzy, until something pressed against my thigh. He let go, lips wet and gleaming. Can I? All night last night. And now again? How did I not realize Jack's breed was clearly toy poodle, insatiable and obsessed with sex? Ruin myself over a pretty face? Maybe. But with that body, I'd do it all over again. The ceiling light shattered overhead as Jack suddenly stopped. "Isabel, I want a gift." My brain was mush. What? You're going to the UK. Jack buried his face in my neck, eyes dark. So, obviously, I want a gift from the UK. I picked the perfect time to come. Tony was in the UK studying art. Now he had to rush back home and had a bunch of paintings to deal with. But it seemed the Shen family hadn't told him about Jack's car accident and disappearance. The system forged me an identity as an art gallery curator under a charity project and connected me with Tony. Same face, but while Jack was cold and aloof, Tony was sweet and innocent. On Friday, I met up with him to buy his paintings. Tony packed the paintings into boxes for me. "Thank you, sis, for liking my work." They were both younger than me, but Jack never once called me sis. Tony smelled faintly of ocean citrus, so fresh. I leaned in close on tiptoe, pretending to sound dejected. I must really suck. I've been chasing him forever, and all he thinks is that I like his art. From a certain angle, the pose looked like I was begging for a kiss. Tony stared, stunned, then quickly looked away. His ears flushed red. During dinner, I asked him to help tie my hair. His fingers slipped through my strands. I let out a soft gasp. "Ouch!" Tony immediately pulled his hand back. All done. I turned slightly, smiling as I asked, "So clumsy, never done this for a girlfriend before." Tony looked down, even his neck turning red. "I've never had a girlfriend." I smiled without replying and lowered my head to keep eating. But I knew Tony was watching me. My little goldmine was about to bite. "Sis, I've got a basketball game this Sunday. Will you come?" I turned toward him, eyes locking. Tony's ears flushed red as he looked away in a panic. I paused on purpose, keeping him on the hook. "Sure." A flicker of joy lit up his eyes. "Really?" "Sis! Of course it's real. My $1,000,000 is on the line." Tony looked skinnier than Jack, but when he lifted his jersey to wipe off sweat, those lean, defined abs showed right through. I sat on the sidelines, quietly impressed. Definitely brothers must be in the genes. Born with an 8-pack. During halftime, Tony ran over and squatted in front of me like a happy puppy waiting for praise. "Didn't I do great, sis?" "Yeah, those abs are impressive." Tony stared at me, the tips of his ears bright red. He licked his lips. "Sis, The ringtone cut in at the worst possible moment. I fished out my phone, and my heart skipped a beat. Tony glanced at the screen too. On display, 2 big letters in the contact name Jack. I quickly covered the screen and stood up in a panic, heart pounding. Tony looked up, innocent and puzzled. "What's wrong, sis?" Thank God he probably didn't see. If Tony found out I was entangled with Jack, all it'd take is one search and I'd be totally exposed. The phone was still vibrating. I took a breath and steadied myself. "It's nothing. My mom's calling. I'll just step out to answer." Tony nodded. I jogged out of the gym, waited until the court noise faded, then answered. "Hello? What is it?" On the other end, Jack's breathing hitched, like he was forcing something down. "What are you doing?" I adjusted my breath, still winded from the run. "Not much. Just taking a walk with my mom." Jack's voice was colder. "Is your mom okay?" "Yeah, she's fine." I paused, then chuckled. "Why? Miss me?" "Yeah." "When are you coming back?" Tony's affection score had unexpectedly jumped to 60%. I kicked a pebble by my feet, voice casual. "Doctor says it's still unstable. Probably another month or 2. Ow, damn." A ball smacked me right in the head. I yelped in pain. Who the hell plays without watching where they're throwing? Wait, Jack hung up? That night at dinner, I had a bit of wine. Tony thought I was tipsy and insisted on walking me back to the hotel. His hand hovered nervously near my waist, close enough to catch me if I fell, but too shy to actually touch. "Tony, why's your face so red? You feeling okay?" I played dumb, pressing the back of my hand to his forehead. Physical contact, an essential seduction tool. Sure enough, Tony flushed even deeper, red creeping down his neck. A little warm. He looked away and helped me stand steady. "Sis, we're here." "Mamma mia, he's so sweet." I straightened up, suddenly wanting to tease him. "Hot?" I tilted my head, swiped my card at the door. "Want to come in for a glass of water?" The lock beeped. I placed my hand on the doorknob, but before I could turn it, the door opened from inside. Tony froze. "Bro? What are you doing here?" "Bro?" My heart shot up to my throat. Before I could react, a large hand yanked me inside. The door slammed shut with a bang. My back hit the cold, solid panel hard. Outside, Tony pounded on the door. "Bro, what the hell? Open up." "UK? Seeing your mum?" Jack glared at me, gripping my shoulders so hard it felt like he was trying to crush bone. I panicked. "Jack, listen." My collar was yanked open, skin exposed. "You two already did it, didn't you?" Jack clamped his hand around my jaw, tongue invading my mouth hard and fast. My knees gave out, brain buzzing. I clung helplessly to him. Jack stared into me, his long black eyes like ink pooling in a net, about to devour me whole. "Did he make you feel good?" I blinked, thinking I misheard. "What?" "Did he make you feel good, or did I?" Outside, Tony kept banging on the door, calling my name. My mind was a complete mess. I couldn't think. "Figures," Jack sneered. "We're twins, on our own. You can't even tell us apart." Behind me, the doorknob rattled. I slapped Jack's hand away, heart racing like a drum. "What are you doing?" "What do you think, sweetheart?" Jack leaned in, his breath hot against my ear. "But my little brother's outside, all worried about you. And you like him. Shouldn't I, as his big brother, be generous?" Jack paused, fingers grazing my swollen lips. "Want me to let him in too, sweetheart?" "You're insane!" My eyes flew open in disbelief. "I'm insane?" His well-defined fingers slid from my lips down my jaw, settling at my neck. Jack chuckled, but his voice was sharp as ice. "Shouldn't you be praising me for being so generous, so mature?" "Generous? Then take your damn hand off my neck." "Fine." I let go and stiffened my neck to meet his gaze. "Open the door. Let Tony in." "Isabel!" The grip on my throat suddenly tightened. Jack stared me down. "Do you know what usually happens to people who lie to me?" I swallowed hard, scared to death, but my mouth wouldn't quit. And you didn't tell me when your memory came back either. Jack flinched. Was that hesitation? I carefully pried his hand off. So we're even now, right? I've got stuff to do, so I'll just go. Go? Jack grabbed my collar and flung me onto the white bed behind us. I scrambled upright. Jack, you... My words were swallowed whole. Heavy breaths. Occasional whimpers. Jack gripped the back of my head hard. His other hand pulled out a phone, and on the lit-up screen, the contact name was crystal clear, Tony. What the he called Tony? So now he's live streaming this. I panicked, bit down on Jack's tongue with everything I had. He hissed in pain and let go. I snatched the phone and ended the call. You're insane. Why the hell would you call Tony? Jack laughed coldly. What? Getting nervous? Afraid my little brother will get jealous. I took a deep breath. I'm not into that crap. No? He leaned in, eyes dark. But me, I live by 4 words. An eye for an eye. Jack looked up at me, eyes cold and heavy. You made me listen. Why shouldn't I make him listen too? Suddenly, a memory flashed in my mind how he'd abruptly hung up at the basketball court earlier today. I took a deep breath and started to explain. Jack, Tony, and I. Enough, I don't care. Jack cut me off sharply. Irritation laced through his brows, but I thought I saw a flicker of fear and avoidance. He turned away and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. After a long silence, he said mockingly, Relax, I didn't actually call Tony. I'm not that crazy yet. Smoke curled and faded around him. Jack was smoking hard. Go break it off with Tony. Come back home with me, and I'll pretend. Jack, let's break up. His hand froze mid-smoke. Fury surged. Isabel, say that again. I avoided his eyes. Guilty. It was all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Jack took a few strides toward me, grabbed my chin, forcing me to tilt my head up. His breath was ragged. You slept with me for a whole year, and now you're saying it was a misunderstanding. Jack, it's my fault. So you never actually liked me, huh? Jack's eyes darkened, jaw clenched. Or maybe once you realized I had a brother with the same face, but better in bed, you couldn't wait to dump me. His grip on my chin tightened with each word. Isabel, I swear I could kill you. Then, suddenly, Jack's pupils shrank. He let go abruptly and asked in a panic, What's wrong? Are you hurt? I was slow to react. I touched my Filtrum blood. Seduction missions were a game played on the edge of a knife. If you succeeded within the time frame, you got paid. If not, the system erased you. When your body started showing abnormal signs, it meant the countdown had begun. I tilted my head back to stop the bleeding. It's nothing, just a little heat stroke. But Jack wasn't buying it. He cupped my face with one hand, gently dabbing away the blood under my nose like I was fine china. Lie down. Rest. I'll call a doctor now. I stared at him in a daze. I had to admit, I did like Jack. But liking someone didn't rank above my life or $1 million. So I snapped into survival mode, summoned every ounce of my acting skill, and said coldly, You're right, Jack. I don't like you anymore. And you really want to have this conversation right now? Jack cut me off, voice icy. A second later, the door was flung open and slammed into the wall. Bro, let her go! A strong hand grabbed my wrist and yanked me away from Jack. That familiar scent of ocean citrus wrapped around me. Tony stood at my side, shielding me. I blinked at him in surprise. How did you get in here? Got the staff to unlock it. Tony turned to me, no longer the sweet, soft boy I was used to. His voice carried an edge of frost. Did he hurt you? I shook my head to calm him. No, I just overheated. Really? Jack sneered as he crumpled up the blood-stained tissue. That worried about her. Bro, I'm taking her with me. Tony! Jack's gaze fell on Tony's hand, gripping my wrist, eyes sharp as knives. You trying to fight me for her? The room felt like a storm was brewing. Meanwhile, I just stared at their two godlike faces, spacing out. Honestly, why not have both? The system rolled its eyes. Host, please stop with the fantasies and complete your mission. Jack, I spoke up to break the tension. I think I've made myself clear. I tugged on Tony's sleeve. Let's go. Isabel, you're really choosing to leave with him. Jack's voice stopped me at the door. Do you even know what kind of person he really is? Jack returned to the country, and I kept working on seducing Tony. As for what Jack said, I watched Tony closely for days. Nothing seemed off. Maybe Jack had said that just to stir the pot. That weekend, Tony invited me to his apartment for dinner. Looking at the table full of food, I teased. You sure this is really just dinner? Yeah, of course. Tony couldn't lie to save his life. He wouldn't even look at me. Plus, I knew he'd been hitting the gym lately. And here I thought someone's been working out just to surprise me. I faked a sigh. Guess I overthought it. Tony's ears turned red in a flash, but he still refused to admit it. What gym? What do you mean, sis? I nodded and stood up. All right then, I'll be heading out. Tony panicked. He grabbed my hand but let go just as quickly, flustered. Sis, I ruffled his hair. So? Be honest. And when Tony showed up wearing fox ears, blushing to his neck, I swear, I hallucinated. A tale. Pure and seductive, this little fox boy was ruining my self-control. I lowered my head, pretending to cough, totally flustered. Where'd you learn this? I, accidentally saw your bookmarks last time. Tony wouldn't meet my eyes. Sis, you don't like it? What kind of girl could even answer that? I do. I looked at him, eyes sparkling. Can it be paired with abs? Tony's ears went even redder. He reached for my hand and guided it under his hoodie, slowly dragging my fingers upward. One block at a time, hot, firm muscle, I grinned. You're flexing on purpose? Yeah, it shows better that way. Wow, sneaky. I like it. I said nothing more, letting my hand roam upward along his abs. Tony caught my hand through his hoodie, face flushed. Sis! And then, like something possessed me, I said, Tony, let's be together. But his brows furrowed instantly. Crap. Was it because of Jack? Maybe I rushed this. I should have waited for a better moment. I pulled my hand back, trying to cover. Tony, it's not... Okay. Tony leaned in and hugged me, rubbing against my neck like a puppy cuddling its owner. Let's be together, sis. System. Host. Affection score has reached 90%. I froze. What? 90%? Tony was summoned back by the Shen family, so I had to follow him back to China. But ever since that day, the score had stayed stuck at 90%. No matter what I did, it wouldn't go up. Normally, once the target truly agreed to a relationship, the bar would hit full immediately. So, Tony didn't really love me? He was lying? That night, I returned to the apartment. The hallway light was out, and maintenance hadn't fixed it yet. I didn't think much of it, and kept walking. But just as I reached for the keypad to enter my code, a hand yanked me by the forearm from the shadows. Shit. Tony's back at the Shen estate tonight. If this person has a knife, I can't afford to provoke them. My heart pounded. I forced myself to stay calm. I opened my mouth to speak then. That familiar scent hit me. Snow-dusted pine mixed with hard liquor. I froze. Jack. That name seemed to set him off even more. He grabbed my arm, spun me around, and slammed me against the wall. In the dark, Jack's breath was ragged, voice hoarse. You're with Tony now. I wrinkled my nose. Why'd you drink so much? Answer me! The grip on my wrist tightened. In the darkness, Jack looked like a beast tortured endlessly in a cage. I took a deep breath, ready to end this. Yes, Tony and I are together. Jack stared at me. In the next second, he pulled me into a tight embrace. I struggled against him. Jack, what are you doing? Let go. Isabel, I'd already made up my mind before coming here tonight. Jack held me down, resting his chin against my neck. If you said yes, I was going to drug you, take you away, lock you up somewhere no one could find. Just the two of us in a villa, cameras everywhere, a chain on your ankle. You'd never leave my side again. Cold droplets landed on my shoulder. I froze and tried to push him off, but Jack only held on tighter. His voice was hoarse, trembling harder by the second as he tried to keep it together. But I realized I can't do it. A dog could never truly hurt its master. Once that dam of emotion cracked, the flood came rushing out. My shoulder was soaked with tears. Jack sniffled, voice raw. Isabel, why can't you just love me again? I didn't say a word, just gently patted his back. My heart felt like it had been soaked in a cold, bitter well. In the dark and empty hallway, the silence was broken only by his quiet sobs. After a while, Jack let go and walked swiftly away. At the elevator, he suddenly stopped. He said to me, Isabel, if this is what you want, I'll give it to you. I opened the door. The apartment was pitch black. The walls weren't thick if Tony had been home. He'd have heard everything that just happened outside. Sis. The bedroom door creaked open, spilling warm yellow light into the room. My heart skipped a beat. You're back? Tony walked toward me, rubbing his eyes like he'd just woken up. I missed you. He wrapped his arms around my waist, burying his face in my neck, voice soft and pitiful. So I came straight back after dinner. But you weren't here. I forced a smile and tested the waters. Did I wake you? No. I just got hot and sweaty. Then I noticed Tony was shirtless. Sis. His voice was low, his breath warm on my ear. Do you like me? Like this? What do you mean like this? You're just you. Tony looked up at me. His pitch black eyes shimmered like they were filled with water so easy to pity. He curved his lips into a smile, eyes squinting adorably. Yeah, I'm just me. I pried his arms off and pushed him toward the bathroom. All right, go shower. You're all sticky. I turned to leave, but Tony suddenly grabbed my hand. Sis, how about we get married? I froze. Married? Tony braced his arms on either side of me. The pose should have been intimidating, but his face was still soft and harmless. Yeah, married. Me. System, what's Tony's affection score at? System, 90%. So what does he need to propose to max it out? Just kidding, you look so nervous. Tony pulled back and smiled sweetly as he walked to the bathroom. But the moment he turned, out of my sight, Tony lifted his gaze. His eyes were filled with shadow. Tony got into a car accident. By the time I found out and rushed to the hospital, 3 days had already passed. 2 towering bodyguards blocked me outside the ward. Sorry, ma'am, said no visitors allowed. Ma'am? Fine. I'm just some random outsider, right? I called Tony. Hello, sis. Tell them to let me in. There was a long pause on the other end. Tony spoke with a smile. Sis, what are you talking, Ab? I'm outside your hospital room. I took a deep breath. How long were you planning to keep lying to me? I hung up. Soon, a middle-aged woman stepped out, probably a private nurse. I stormed into the room. Tony was lying in bed, gauze across his face. Everything, except his right hand, was in a cast. When he saw me, he lit up, pushing himself upright like a fluffy little puppy, eager to cuddle its owner. Sis! I tore into him. I've been calling for days. Why did you lie and say you were at the Shen estate? Tony lowered his eyes. It wasn't serious. I didn't want you to worry. When I didn't respond, Tony lifted his right hand and gently hooked my pinky with his. His right arm was scraped from wrist to shoulder, red with blood. This is not serious. Sis, I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me. He softly apologized, gently swinging our linked pinkies. It felt like I was the one who got hurt. Who could stay mad with a little pup like this apologizing and being so clingy? My anger melted. I pulled back my hand and tried to act tough. How'd it happen? I zoned out while driving and hit a guardrail. I leaned in and pinched the only uninjured part of his face. If you lie to me again, you're dead meat. Got it? As soon as I said it, I froze. I was just a mission runner. Whether I succeeded or failed, I'd have to leave eventually. There was no next time. Suddenly, I was scared to hear his response. I panicked and changed the subject. Stay put. I'm going to the bathroom. There's one in the room. I don't like the toilets in here. Without waiting, I rushed out. As I passed the nurse's station, I overheard two nurses gossiping. I went to change the bandages in the VIP room today. He's seriously hot. Rich and hot. So unfair. Want to hear some juicy gossip? Spill! One nurse lowered her voice. He didn't just crash his car. I heard he crashed it into his brother. That's what caused the accident. I stayed in the restroom a long time, splashing cold water on my face. My mind kept replaying every moment I'd spent with Tony. Honestly, I should have seen it coming. From the moment I met him, Tony's personality was the complete opposite of Jack's. But they're twins, same blood. Jack was never the easy type. How could Tony really be harmless? Or maybe, now I should say he's actually worse. Crazier. He pretended to be the exact type I'd fall for, slowly luring me in. But we'd never met before. There's no way he could have known about the system. And why did he crash into Jack? Suddenly, it hit me he heard what happened outside the door that night. He was pretending, holding it in. Miss Isabel, do you need anything? It was Tony's nurse. No, I'm good, I said, wiping my face and turning back toward the room. Why'd you take so long? Tony asked from the bed, tilting his head at me, looking as sweet and innocent as ever. I stared at him. Tony, yeah? The reason you crashed? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. It's because you drove into Jack on purpose, isn't it? Tony's expression stiffened. A few seconds later, he let out a self-deprecating laugh. So you found out, I gasped. Are you insane? He's your brother. Maybe, Tony nodded blankly. Or maybe I've always been crazy. I just played the part so long I started to believe it myself. I looked into his eyes, my voice trembling. Then why did you pull back at the last second? You could have swerved right and avoided everything, so why crash straight into the wall? Tony gave a bitter laugh. Maybe I wanted to punish myself. Or maybe I just wanted you to feel sorry for me, to care. I took a sharp breath. So before I even came to the UK to find you, you'd already met or known about me, right? A month after Jack's accident, my parents found him. He refused to return, and I got curious. I hired a private investigator. That's how I got your pictures and videos. I never thought I'd fall for the same girl as Jack. He turned his body slightly, staring at the white wall across the bed, voice hollow. Isabel, I can't compare to Jack. He never hides what he wants, his ambition, his possessiveness. He fights for it head on. But me, all I have are tricks. I act sweet and harmless to win your favor. Tony lowered his head like a prisoner awaiting execution. So, will you still want me? My mind was a mess. I turned to leave the room for some air. Sis, please don't go. A heavy thud hit the floor behind me. I spun around and saw Tony collapsed on the ground, bracing himself with his right hand as he tried to crawl forward. Blood seeped through the blue and white hospital gown from his torn back wound. What are you doing? I rushed back, but could only help him sit up. He couldn't get back in bed. I'm calling the guards. Tony's only uninjured hand suddenly wrapped tightly around my waist, squeezing the air out of my lungs. Sis, don't go. I won't lie to you again. If you don't like the real me, I swear I'll pretend to be that other version for the rest of my life. His voice cracked into sobs. No, it's not pretending. I really can be like that. Please, believe me. I won't go crazy again. I'll be good. I'll listen. Just don't leave me. Tony, I'm not leaving. I steadied my breath and gently patted his back. But if you don't loosen up, you might actually kill me. Tony froze, then let go. His eyes were red as he gripped my hand, locking our fingers together. Isabel, I love you. At the same time, the system chimed happily in my mind. Congratulations, host. You've successfully completed the target, Tony. Reward, 10 million. So the last 10% was Tony's true self behind the mask. The system extended my death fake-out timer by 6 months. I was starting to get reluctant to leave. Tony dropped the act completely. On the surface, loyal puppy. Behind the scenes, a manipulative green tea bastard with insane possessiveness. When I came home late, Tony never complained. He'd just video call me, asking for help picking out clothes, then change one piece at a time on camera, letting the high-res lens catch every detail of his defined abs, firm chest, and sharp V-line disappearing into grey sweatpants. I heard myself gulp, instantly turned feral, called a cab and rushed home. And there he'd be Tony, sitting on the couch in a loose, half-wet bathrobe, pretending not to know anything. Sis, back so soon? I thought you'd stay out a little longer. Won't your friends be upset that you left so suddenly? Blood pressure, through the roof. Teeth, gritted. You manipulative green tea snake. Oh? Is that so? Then don't fall for me, sis. I huffed, turning to leave. Fine, I won't. Tony stood up and pulled me into his arms. Isabel, keep falling for me. Just don't ever leave me. But what am I supposed to do? I'm leaving, Tony. One night, sis. Maybe I should get cosmetic surgery. Just a little adjustment. What? Why? Every time I look in the mirror and see Jack's face, I get annoyed. You've definitely stared at me when I wasn't looking, thinking of him instead. It's driving me crazy. I hate it. I hate having the same face as Jack. Damn. He really doesn't hold anything back. Petty little freak. The system said my exit would be a car crash. So on the day of my planned fake death, I sent Tony to the south side of the city to buy his favorite croissants. I opened the door and there was Jack, leaning against the wall, smoking. The company's expanding into new markets. I'm being transferred to the UK soon. I blinked. When? Next week, probably. Jack looked down, eyes dim. Don't know when I'll be back. Figured I'd stop by before I go. I looked at him. He was even thinner than before. His cropped hair made his features seem sharper, more mature. After a long silence, Isabel, can I hug you one last time? I didn't reply. Jack gave a small smile. Forget it. Probably not appropriate anyway. I rose on my toes and wrapped my arms around his back. He said, I won't be attending your wedding with Tony. I nodded. All right. Safe travels. And thank you, Jack. I drove Tony's car out of the garage. The road led onto the sea crossing bridge. Then, like the brakes failed, the car veered into the guardrail and plunged into the ocean. A flash of white light blinded me. I shut my eyes, silently saying goodbye. The mission was finally over. I cashed in the system's 10 million and officially became a rich woman. Real estate's been slow lately, so I just bought one spacious apartment. Life was going very well. But I kept dreaming Jack and Tony haunted my sleep. Every morning I'd wake up with a tight chest, unable to breathe. So I decided to take a vacation in Bali. The hotel bed was perfect. I finally had a dreamless sleep. But when I woke up, it was still pitch black. Wait, that's not right. My eyes were covered. I bolted upright in panic. Cold metal touched my ankle. The clink of chains echoed in the dark. Shit, am I kidnapped? No way I didn't flaunt my money. I was wearing an 80 yuan dress from a street stall. You're awake? I froze. That voice, I whispered, trembling. Jack? Sis, where's the croissant you promised me? No, no way. I screamed for my long-dead system. What's going on? System! Help! The system sounded just as stunned. Don't panic, Master. I'm checking. System. Got it. Jack and Tony's obsession after your fake death triggered a system event. They've been selected as the new love targets. Congrats, Master. You've been bound to the twin brothers. Welcome to the Love Me System 18 Plus version, ultra restricted, ultra hard mode. Please brace yourself to be seduced. What? I'm the target now? The system giggled. Don't be scared, Master. Isn't this what you always wanted? My mind echoed with a long-forgotten conversation. I was joking. It was a joke. System. By the way, reminder, since they found out you faked your death, they're very, very angry right now. My legs gave out. I was lifted off the ground. That soft citrus scent Tony. I clutched his jacket. Where are you taking me? The moment I asked, they laid me back on the bed. I tried to sit up only to realize the whole bed was shifting, like it was made of water. I gave in instantly. Jack, Tony, I know I wronged you, but it was the system's mission. I didn't have a choice. We forgive you. But, sis, you guessed wrong just now. Citrus and cedar scents tangled in the air. In the dark, I felt surrounded on both sides. Tony chuckled lazily. Sis, if you guess wrong again, we'll have to punish you.